one day. In a way already, I'm seeing Masharia looking outside, but in a way, every one of you, God, Christ tarrying in one way or another, you will be a father figure to somebody or even a biological father, and therefore with a call to be a father. So on this Father's Day, recently we've received statistics of the many girls in Kenya that have gotten pregnant during this COVID-19 pandemic. The association with the season is due, like we've had the extra time among the youth, time in their hands, and also the challenge by parents and grandparents in some instances who haven't had the time or at times the skills to manage this extra time with their youth. The ultimate blame, of course, has been on what has been referred to, a new term, sex pests. Sex pests. And in celebrating this Father's Day, I couldn't help but think about these recent developments, the statistics. As we saw, Machakos, 4,000 girls that have gotten pregnant in the last 3 months. I mean, I just couldn't help as we thought about Father's Day to think about those girls and the future and the babies that will be born. Or 17,000 in, is it Kakamega or Pokot? I mean, those figures are astronomical. And whether the figures are contested, even 2,000 for the case of Machakos, those are still too many girls whose lives, whose futures are being altered in ways that they did not plan, that's what their lives would be. So this term, sex pests, in the backdrop of this Father's Day is something that just cannot leave my mind. And so I thought, as I give you a few words on this Father's Day, we should also not neglect not to make mention of that. Sexuality is one of those things that are intrinsically part of man, that is mankind, all the way from creation. Whether viewed solely as designed for procreation, that is sexuality, or self-fulfillment, or for entertainment, as within the modern culture, all these views are there as to what is sexuality, what is the place of sexuality. And therefore, as we talk about this Father's Day, I would also want to touch on mainly Father's Day, but in light of sexuality, because of the impacts, like I've mentioned afore, whose impacts we already see. So one, from creation, in Genesis 2, 20 to 25, it tells us that after God created man, man names all the animals, but there wasn't an helpmate fitting for man. That is, while the giraffes were there, all the animals were there, delightful as they were, none was an ultimate fitting companion for man. So man was still dissatisfied in spite of all this activity of this new creation, this new world he finds himself in. And so the concluding part of that chapter is man is put to sleep, God makes a woman, and the final part says man and woman were naked and they were not ashamed of each other. They were naked and not ashamed of each other. In other words, they were one flesh, so to say, one body, not afraid of each other, not ashamed of each other. Their bodies were one. Like what the Bible teaches in Ephesians 5 towards the end, where it says marriage is between man and woman. Man should love wife, woman should love husband, submitting and loving, and that they should really be, as created in creation, they are meant to be one, not ashamed of each other, loving each other, and giving each other, oneself to the other. Marriage as meant to be between two. And so we see from creation that the two are together, the two are not naked. The two are naked, but the two aren't ashamed of each other. So to say, Man has found a playmate, or woman has found a playmate, a friend, a playmate in the right sense, in the right use of the term. Someone to play with, someone to have fun with, someone to live life with, someone with whom man and woman can enjoy as partners as they walk through life. And I want to say to us that that's what really even sexuality or sex is meant to be. I mean, they were both naked, not ashamed of each other, whether it's having fun or whatever they were doing. Sex is meant to be that enriching thing in marriage between two. Again, remember, I said earlier, this is Father's Day, and I've also said the bad impacts of sex, like we've seen in the current pandemic. Now, an added thought to this, virginity is something that we see in, whether you talk about cultures, and cultures are varied, but in Bible culture, virginity was highly prized. Was highly prized. I remember the first time, even in African cultures, there are many, the first time that I learned about what virginity in more thinking was meant to be. In virginity, when man and woman come together, if it's the first time for a woman to experience sex, what happens? Their virginity gets broken, isn't it? And I'm talking to you as adults. My sons as the primary audience, but there is also my daughters who are listening. Okay, daughters, you have a bonus. This is not for you, but you're listening. So in that act, blood is shed. In covenants of old, blood would be shed. There was no covenant without the shedding of blood. So in the same way, I see in God's own packaging of the woman for the man, the woman comes as a virgin, which means in the act of sex, what happens? It's like a covenant that is being sealed between the two in the shedding of blood. And that's why even in Jewish culture, when the first day or the first night or day of the new couple, they had to bring the cloth and to show that the cloth had blood as evidence that she was a virgin. If the cloth didn't have blood, then there could be divorce or other things, because it was meant to be like evidence. She kept herself for this man. The gift has not been unraveled, opened. It's still as designed in creation. So the first time I heard this lecturer explain this, in fact, a medical doctor, I got really puzzled. I mean, just trying to think how God, in his own creation, why did he create woman like that? I mean, the mouth comes open, the nose comes open, ears come open, but this particular part of woman, even the back comes open, but this particular part of woman comes already sealed. Why did God seal it? Why did God seal it? Because God meant it to be something like a gift that is being delivered. I mean, who wants a gift that has already been opened? I come and say, Anne, here is your gift. Lakini kabla nikulete, I've already opened it up. Anne will be frustrated, isn't it? She will be angry with me. Why did God package it and seal it? I mean, there is wisdom in that. There is a lesson by what's the word? By putting the dots together. I mean, the Bible doesn't explicitly explain, but you can put the dots.
Look at the preacher.
But you can put dots together. Okay, I think they had this is for men, my sons. This is Father's Day. But yeah, like your mother says, look at the preacher. So you can put dots together by extrapolation. Is that the term? Those who do mathematics. By putting dots together to ask what was God's intention in putting this, locking it up. Okay, what am I saying? I'm saying that man created woman, the two to be unique, like love birds, like from the very beginning. They are together, they are naked, they are not ashamed, they are friends. And I'm giving this background as we talk about Father's Day, and as we talk about the background that we said, there are lots of these children who are going to be born out of wedlock, out of unplanned pregnancies. Part of it is what? Part of it is, as said by the authors of the article, who say that sex pests, men who cannot control their virility, their manliness, the sexual drive. It drives them as opposed to them controlling it. And I'm saying this to say, in creation, sex, or that virility, the power in man to reproduce or to sleep with a woman, wasn't simply meant to be something that they used to overbear on woman. In fact, when you see from creation and throughout scripture, man is meant by his strength to care, to protect, care for woman, care for those who are physically not as strong as they are, as opposed to using their strength to rape, to use the strength to protect. Man is meant to be caring for children. That's why even in old societies, men would be the ones who go to war. Of course, we have a few like, what's the Kikuyu proverbial woman? What was her name? No. Was it Wangari or?
Wangua Makeri.
Wangua Makeri. Okay. But really, in all cultures, it's men who would go to war, lay their lives down, as opposed to talking about 4,000 pregnant. If there was a war, we'd be talking of 4,000 men who died laying their lives down for their wives or for their children. 17,000 men who've died fighting for their country. But it's now the opposite. It's girls whose lives are demolished because of men, sex pests, or who, to satisfy their sexual drives, they have taken advantage, or whether by concession this has happened, their sex drive has been used to abuse as opposed to say to building. And I'm saying the strength in man was meant to be for protection, to be loving, to be caring, a defender, a provider, whether it's in tilling the fields or doing the hard labors that a woman may not do. Man was given that strength for that positive use. So, but I've used the word virginity again there to say, yes, it was meant to be a price, a package. And of course, I'm not talking to ladies, so we'll be talking more about what is primary virginity and what is secondary virginity and all that. And I'm not talking about Virgin Atlantic. Those of you who may be wondering. I wonder what that guy was thinking about when he named his airline Virgin Atlantic. Okay, now Genesis 2:6-2 speaks about the sons of God seeing the beautiful women and coming and having sex with them. I'm not speaking in terms of theology. Go and do your research. But it says sons of God were attracted by women. And whether it's angels who saw women and decided to be human beings or take demonic forms and sleep with women. Fallen angels. You know, all those are different views. I mean, again, showing the power of sex. That an angel would seek to lose his place as an angel or whatever, enter human form, whichever, and sleep with women. I mean, just again showing the power of sex. And I'm also saying the need, therefore, and that's where we are heading, to control your sexuality. To control your sexuality. I think that's the line that I'm drawing to you, my sons. As we celebrate Father's Day, the call is, can you make a decision that you rein in your sexual drive? It will not be your driver, you will drive it. You take control over your sexual power that is God-given. It's God-given. Hello? You know, when we were young as new Christians, we would say, I bind you sexual drive until you were told. Some of you, when you marry, you'll have to say, I lose you because you bound it. You bound it until it died. Because you are seeking shape. I want self-control. Nothing about this thing, you know,
But does it work?
sticking out of my trousers.
But does it work?
Well, Ask the sons there. Okay. But the point is, it's God given. Okay? It's a God given power, drive. That's where life comes from. Without it, there will be no human life. That's why it's a strong force. And you look at even animals, they go wild. Thankfully, most of the animals, it's a season. It's not all time. That's why you find dogs can be all okay. But once it's that season, they will jump over the fences, they will go wild because of that sexual drive that pushes them. But for man, it's there all the time because God gave you the brains as opposed to animals. Otherwise, animals would be doing the thing until possibly they die. In fact, the other day with your mom, we saw, and there are some animals, once it's that season, they do sex until the male dies. Inaisha, inakufa, because it doesn't control itself. It dies, it gives up its life and dies. The drive. But God gave human, but God made us human beings with an intellect, with the power to reason. So He gave you this power at your disposal, but because He knew, He's given you the power to control it. And as we say, Happy Father's Day, I'm calling on us as fathers and future fathers to control the drive, sex drive that God put into your life. Okay. Now, we see in scripture, and we've got no time, mighty men like Samson. I mean, the guy who would walk with a gate. The gate outside there, the gates of a city, not just a house. You'd lift them, literally move away with them. But we know, when it came to a woman, it says he went down to the Philistines and saw a woman. When it came to a woman, he became helpless. He became helpless. He became like a baby. I remember the story of this guy who could kill a bull with his blow. One blow, you'd hit a bull, it dies. But he says, preacher, help me. When I'm in front of a woman, I'm finished. I just cannot. I can kill a bull with my hands, but in the hands of a woman, I'm like a baby. I mean, I can't control myself. He could control his strength to punch, but he could not control his strength to control his virility, his manliness, his sexual drive. All right, so Samson, mighty man. David, another mighty man. But again, we see it's what? Again, a woman. But for both of them, notice, it's what? It's the eye. Samson went down to Gaza, saw a woman. David, when the kings were going to war, he did not go. What did he do? He went to relax. He saw a woman naked. He saw. As a young man, I learned this word, this phrase, that the first look is innocent. The second look is not innocent. You look at a girl or a woman, she's seated badly, you're seeing right between her legs. The first look is innocent. The second look is not innocent. The second look, you become like a dog that now wants really to follow up this could be garbage and eat it. I'm using that analogy because it's not yours. She is not yours. I mean, if I look at my wife, I mean, and see her panty or anything, okay. Me and her, there's no nakedness. The first look is innocent. The second look is not innocent. You're driving down the street and you look at that girl and you're nearly making an accident because your eyes are following her. The first look was innocent. The second look, someone is running away. The second look is not innocent. My sons, on this Father's Day, I remind you, as a young man, I learned it. I'm still working on it. You must train your eye. Samson saw a woman. David saw a woman. The sons of God saw the daughters of men were beautiful. The eye. You must train your eye. You must, for you to take control, charge of your sexual drive, first place is your eye. That's what brought Samson down, David down. Lots of accounts, even in society today. The eye. Take charge of your eye. The first look is innocent. The second look, you've now purposed. You are being hooked. You're like a fish that has seen the hook and is being drawn, and you are following. So you must take charge of your eye. And you must teach yourself in small things. Look at a lady who is seated badly, move your eye. Determine not to. Driving down the streets, assume, yes, you can see them, but you're not seeing them. Train your eye. It's a discipline you must work on and work on continuously. And someone endorses that particular fact or theory or principle. Job 31, verse 1. What does Job say? I've made a covenant with my eyes, not look at a woman lustfully. Job learned it. He made a covenant with his eye. He trained his eye not to look at a woman lustfully. He trained, he purposed. He says it's a covenant. He has agreed. He uses a strong term, a covenant. Remember, I used that word before, earlier on. But Job uses it for his own eye. I have made a covenant. Nimefanya nadhiri. I've made a covenant with my eye not to. N-O-T, not to. All right. Now, happy Father's Day, and I call on you, my sons, future fathers, make a covenant with your eye. Train your eye. So where does it land to? Pornography. Pornography is one of the greatest industries in the world today. It said it's a 91 plus billion US dollar industry. Those who do mathematics calculate that for us in Kenya shillings. 91 billion US dollars industry. Pornography. Pornography. Why am I using pornography here in this? Because I'm talking about the eye. The things that you see. The things that you see powerfully influence you. The things that you look at. In this case, we are speaking about explicit or whether it's X-rated or open sexual nudity, or that it has its effects in your mind. It influences your thinking. And it's so much available all over the place. Whether it's in the movies that we watch, whether it's in the books that we read, whether it's in the music that we are listening to, where it's just sexual, vulgar, or sexual things. In fact, Dr. Mutua, the governor of Machakos, in his response, he said he attributes the cases of pregnancies to the vulgar, he said, Kikamba music. That's where he put the blame, or one of the places, or his main place. He said it's so sexually averse.
Not the governor.
The one,
the media, what is it?
Ezekiel Mutua.
Ezekiel.
Oh, it's Ezekiel Mutua. Okay, very good. Ezekiel Mutua. Okay, he put the blame. He's also a Kamba, so he can rightfully, without being said it's prejudice. He's a Kamba. So he placed the blame on the vulgar Kikamba music. And of course, not just Kikamba music. We know music all over, by and large, there's lots of vulgar music. But I come back to pornography. And I want to encourage you, my sons, future fathers, you must overcome pornography. You must conquer pornography. It's destroyed men in millions. Men who are captive to pornography. Men who, because of pornography, masturbation has become, a man who leave his wife in the bedroom and go to masturbate in the toilet or in the sitting room because he doesn't know how to deal with his wife, because he got hyped and psyched by what he sees. So his own woman, his playmate, the two being playmates of each other, cannot satisfy him. Why? Because he's gotten tuned, he's intoxicated, addicted by what he has been seeing and hearing, which is not for for most real. It cannot be in real life. But its tormented influenced his mind and made him to be a different thing and not a normal functional, what should be a normal functional sexual being in relation to his wife. Pornography. Pornography, my sons, is something you must purpose to conquer. As a young man, I had to decide, once I turned my life to Jesus, that I must take charge over my sexuality. I wasn't born a Christian, so I had my own escapades and my own damaged life. And when I turned my life to Jesus, coming from those eras of Michael Jackson and others, with all that music, I had to deal with the things in my mind. I had to deal with the reprogramming of my mind, reprogramming of my sexuality, and really taking charge over it. Future fathers, my sons, sexuality, pornography, masturbation, those are things you must deal with and be hard on yourself. Don't treat you the same way, Masharia, you are hard on the gym, on yourself. Be hard in these things on yourself. Tough on yourself. Don't pamper yourself. Be hard on yourself. Be hard. I'm saying be hard because we live in days where sex, it's like an experiment. You look at the statistics, they are appalling. How many young people by the age of 13 to 20, they are already, sexually loose. I mean, sexually experimenting. It's seen as the in thing. That you're not loose or having sex, you're the odd one. Long ago, it was the other way around. Today, it's this other way around. That if you're not having sex, you're awkward, you're odd, you're not treated as normal. So that's why I'm saying you must be hard on yourself because you're going counter culture, counter music culture, counter the movie culture, counter everything about sex. So you must be hard on yourself because you're going opposite the traffic against the grain. Can I hear an amen from my sons and daughters?
Amen.
All right. And that's where again going back to the eye, Jesus says in Matthew 5:28, following up on Job, very similarly, he said, it's been said to you, thou shalt not commit adultery. But then he says, but I said to you, whoever looks at a woman and lusts after her has already slept with her, has already had sex with her. So Jesus also brings it back to the eye, like we said earlier, the control of the eye. He says, whoever looks at that woman, lusts after her already. He said, you're already an adulterer. You've already done it. I mean, he raises the bar. So I bring you back, my sons, back to the point, self-control and the control of the eye. You must be hard on your eye. And that's why Jesus was so hard that he even took it to the extreme of saying, if your eye therefore causes you to sin, do what? Pluck it out. Rather than with both eyes, you find yourself headed into hell. I mean, he was going to the extreme to push the point. Be hard on yourself. Be hard on your eyes. Be hard on your self-control. And that's why, again, coming back to the movies. The movies that we watch, and I know I've sat with my daughters and sons and watched some movies, and my sons and daughters will say, now let's skip that episode, because Dad is in the house. Someone is looking at me like I'm from another planet. And they'll say, Dad will skip this one. Okay? Why? Because it's a nude scene. And that's the tough times we live in. Recently, we've watched an episode of something from South Africa, Blood and Water. Very, very good narrative. But things today are sold by being sexed up. You sex it up so that it can sell. Sexing it up. In fact, even in marketing, they say sex it up so that it can sell. That's the terrible times that we live in. So what must you do? How shall you survive? And my sons and daughters, I say to you again, your eye. If, yes, Daddy is there, we can skip that nude scene. But Dad isn't there. Will you sit and swallow it and drink it? I tell you, my son, you are preparing yourself for the slaughter. If you can sit, watch it, and drink it, and you're saying, ah, no, it has no effect on me, pretender. You're just a pretender. You're like someone who cuts himself and says, I'm not bleeding. And you're just bleeding. You're a pretender. It's having its effect on you. It's writing its software in you. And like I've said later, there is a price that you're going to pay. There's a price in relationships. One of the major outcomes of the pornography, and you look at research, it's saying it's the broken relationships. Research is coming out clean. The many broken relationships that are as a result of men and women who become captives to pornography. Broken marriages, broken relationships. People cannot relate normally with their wives and their husbands. Part of it because of pornography. Pornography has rewired their minds into something else and not what God intended it from the beginning to be. And I say this to you, my sons, but I also say it to you, my daughters, in passing. Because you're the wives of my future son, or of the future fathers, of my sons who are future fathers. You as well. You listen to those obscene music, you enjoy it, you look at those open sexual scenes, you drink it, and you think it's not having an effect on you, pretender. You are a pretender. It's writing its own software in you, and the price is colossal. I would that you take measures. And because we live in a world, just like I said, you're driving, someone is dressed up in a way that it's their choice, they are dressed their choice, but you're just attracted to look, you don't just keep looking. So if it's the movie you're watching, the same way you'd say, Daddy is here, let's keep it. Why keep drinking that scene? You already know what is there. Or don't you? You know. Why not skip it? Keep your mind. Help yourself. You're just laying a load on you that you'll not be able to carry by sitting there to drink it. And I finish with Ephesians chapter 5. And this is what it says. To you fathers, and more specifically, I'm speaking to my sons as future fathers. It says this in the book of Ephesians 5, verse 3. But there is a preview of other things. He's spoken as to how we should live our conduct. But in verse 3 it says, but lakini, immorality, sexual vice, and all impurity of lustful, rich, wasteful living